No. I'm eating and I'm recording the video. So this is probably going to be one of the more ghetto videos I've done. Because I'm going to be eating my food. I got the AC and fans running. Luckily, I know I talk loud, so I'm not overly concerned. There might be some interruptions. I don't give a damn. Not eating in the video. Part of the reason why I'm doing this, though, because if I don't, there's a high chance I will be screaming and ranting and need to maintain the stress levels. So my boy Retro Death from the Juices Podcast made a video a few days ago talking about pro-life and how he views it to be, the way his video is titled is Pro-Life is the Real Murder. That's the title of his video. Link in the description. Watch that first so you have context for this video, because I'm about to pretty much say, I guess first things first, I don't really view myself pro-life or pro-choice. There's a lot of gray area, and I don't really like to live in the area of absolutes, but something as important as a person's life. But he just said some shit in there that is so anti-pro-life that some of it's just factually wrong, and some of it needs to be addressed, because alright, so here we go. So, the basis of his video is that I think it was recently passed in Alabama, I think is what he says in the video, that that they recently passed a pro-life bill in Alabama, and how that aggravated him. Now, before I go into it, Retro, we are still cool, we are still friends, but that does not mean I'm not going to call you out on some bullshit, so just know. So the first thing he mentions to me, one of the first things he mentions that aggravated the fuck out of me was the reasons why women get abortion, which he is factually wrong on, mind you. He goes, some of the top reasons why women get abortion: incest, rape. If you looked at any statistics, mind you, you would know those are some of the least reasons why women get abortions. Most women get abortions for these three reasons. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I believe it's for financial reasons, that they can't afford it. 2, it was an unintended pregnancy, meaning they didn't mean to get pregnant and they ain't trying to have kids right now. Or 3, there seems to be 2 variations. Either they can't have kids they didn't want to have kids right now, or they don't want to fuck up their lives with kids right now. Essentially means that either can't afford it, didn't want it, or don't want to deal with it right now. Those seems to be the main 3 reasons. Or that it was unintended. So off the bat, he's fucking wrong. Because he thinks because the basis of his video is based off of the idea that most women are getting abortions because of rape and incest. Not saying that women aren't getting abortions for rape and incest. It's not the majority of women, though. Most women aren't getting rape. I hate this argument because it's based off of the idea, well, at least, let me rephrase that. In the U.S., I guess I should say, in the U.S., most women are getting abortions is not because of rape. So, like, basing part of his argument off of that idea is stupid, because most women in the U.S. aren't getting abortions because of rape. The next thing that got on my nerves was that when he was looking at the ratio of who voted yes to this bill in Alabama, was that the majority of it was men. And he said something that I don't give a fuck who you are. I believe this is 100% wrong. This man says men shouldn't have a say in whether or not a woman gets an abortion. Do you think women reproduce asexually, sir? If you don't believe that, good for you. You understand how reproduction works in humans. 2, by that logic, that means that I have to be involved, or a man or someone who is producing semen has to be involved in the creation of a child. A woman cannot get pregnant without semen in the egg, meaning a man is involved. So when you tell me that a man shouldn't be allowed to vote against or for a woman getting an abortion that essentially is telling me you don't think that men have a say-so whether or not their child gets killed or not. That's bullshit. Now, he mentions exceptions, mind you. He does mention the exceptions, but he keeps going back to that. Men, most of the time, shouldn't be allowed to vote on whether a woman gets an abortion. Also, that's, to me, way more progressive if you think about it. Because most men are the ones who are pushing for the abortion. Because of the whole, I don't want kids right now, I can't afford kids and shit, right? Or the whole child support situation. Most guys, stereotypically I'll say, usually don't want kids and the woman wants the kid. Now, obviously, like everything else in life, there is a crossover where women don't want the kids, but the man wants the kids, right? But to tell me that the man doesn't have any say-so whatsoever is bullshit. But once again, the whole video is fucked because he's still going off of this premise that the majority of the majority of pregnancies and abortions, the majority of the abortions are from rape victims, which they're not, at least not in the U.S. It's because the woman can't afford it. Or the woman didn't mean to have a child, didn't mean to get pregnant, meaning they were fucking around and somebody didn't use protection, whether it was the woman or the man or both. Actually, it had to be both because you can't get pregnant if the man had protection. Well, you can. I guess that's not true. The point is, something went wrong or somebody didn't have protection and she ended up pregnant, meaning it was on accident. Or she was like, look, fuck, I got a career. I'm trying to be a doctor. I ain't trying to have no kids right now. I can't afford to have no kids. That's the reason why people are getting abortions. Those are the major reasons. So, but he's still running off this rape premise. He's also running off, he also mentions in the fucking video that, oh, well, some of these kids, if you're asking like a crack lady to have a child in the ghetto, and then that child now is growing up in a shitty ass environment, or eventually will be sent to a foster home, which are terrible, right? These are the things he mentions in terms of why you shouldn't have an abortion, of why a woman should be able to decide whether she's having an abortion, because his argument is that if you're truly pro-life, you're not, because that's just another form of murder. And I'm not gonna say he's wrong. I'm gonna say this though: the difference between that situation where a child is born in the ghetto or put in a foster home or born in a shitty society where there's a low chance of him or her making it out and being like a functional member of society, enjoying life. The difference between that very bad situation and the alternative, which is to have an abortion, is that at least there's a percentage of a chance for that child to make it, to live, to enjoy their lives. There is a chance. It may not be high, but I'll tell you this, it's higher than having that woman have an abortion and that motherfucker doesn't get shit. This is the shit that drives me nuts. Because there are a bunch of people you can talk to who grew up in shitty, poverty-stricken areas. Motherfuckers who grew up in foster homes. And you're right, there's a bunch of those people who went through who wanted to kill themselves. And people who did kill themselves who grew up in foster homes or died at young ages and shit. That is very fucking true. But here's the thing. It's 100% chance they ain't got shit if you get an abortion versus the 1% chance. That's way better than fucking 0. That's why that pissed me off. Because I was like, how dare you? You first tell me that men should have no say-so except for very, very, very specific situations. Once again, you're still running off of the flawed premise that rape is 90% of the reason why women get abortions. It's not. But fuck it. Even if it was, that to me, you wanna know why the rape argument always comes up? Because that's the only gray area argument. And even then, there are women who have been rape victims and had their kids, and guess what? They wouldn't give up their child for the world. This is why I can't pick a side on this shit. Because there's too many gray areas. There are women who are obviously painfully reminded of not only the rape, but also the men who raped them through their child, and they can't handle it, and some dark shit happens, whether they kill themselves, they end up killing the child, or both. Things will go bad. Things have a high chance of going bad there too. But here's the difference. If you have the child, there's a chance that it won't. Versus when you have an abortion, that's 100% dead. There is no 1%. There's not even a 0.1% chance that child can grow up and have a happy life because they're dead. But I also understand that our systems are fucked up right now. So if a woman has to have the baby and she can't support the child, she might have to give the child up, which can cause a bunch of mental trauma to a woman when they have to give the child up. It fucks up a lot of things. There's arguments for both ways, but to sit there and tell me that, rape and incest are the main reasons why. Or financial instability, which is one of the main reasons in the U.S. But you want to know what part of the problem is? Is that there are ways to prevent you even coming to the abortion clinic in the first place with protection, or you fucking get procedures done. Men and women both can get procedures done so they don't have kids. And the irresponsibility of these fucking teenagers having children. Of these teenagers not having children, but teenagers getting pregnant or having sex. And the reason why that happens in the first place is they're running off of hormones. Nobody teaches them about protection. The thing is, there are so many ways to improve people coming to the abortion clinic at all. Because if you get your tubes tied or you get a vasectomy, you don't have to worry about it. Ever. But the problem is you got a bunch of women and men who are fucking around and don't have proper protection, or they are thinking about shit because it's a night of passion, and now a fucking unknown baby has to die because you fucked up and you don't want to deal with the consequences of your actions. This is the reason why like I said before, I can never be one way or the other because they both have flaws in their systems. But to sit there and say some bullshit like men shouldn't have a say-so, and whether it trips me out, it's the same thing when it comes to female equal rights. It was the same situation. Women always want to make that bullshit argument that only women fought for equal rights. Men did too. Men had to agree to it in order for it to get passed, remember? Because it was a male-dominated society. A bunch of women didn't even fucking want equal rights, remember that? Because they knew what it entailed. Not only the good shit, but the bad shit. That's why you got a bunch of women now who say that shit. Where they're talking about, I want equal rights, but they only want the positive side of it. They don't want the negative, which is doing the same work and heavy lifting and all the other bullshit that men have to do. It's the same thing here. Like, men should have just as much of a right to say something about abortion because it's their kids who are on the line too. It ain't like the kid is only the fucking woman. The guy was involved. I do agree with the argument that there are some women who would trap a man into a pregnancy just to fuck him over with child support and shit. I am aware of that. That's why I wouldn't say it's necessarily the man or the woman's fault in this situation. Rape is not the basis of this argument. That's the problem. That's the main problem with the fucking video. Rape is not the main cause. Rape and incest are not the main causes of abortions. It's because they can't afford it, they didn't want it, or they're not ready for it. It's those three things, for the most part. So sitting here and acting like, oh, it's her body, she should be able to make the decision with it. But if we didn't have sex, then this wouldn't even be a decision in the first place. Like, that's my issue with the whole, because he keeps repeating that part, that men, for the majority of the time, shouldn't have any say-so. We had to fuck for you to get pregnant. What do you mean I don't have any decision in that? Because here's the other reason why I say that. It's because if the man wants the child but the woman doesn't, you know what you do? The woman can have the baby and give full custody to the father. So the child doesn't have to die and he still gets a child. Because if a man, especially when it comes to kids, if a man wanted that kid, guess the fuck what? he will pay to have that child. So tell me a man shouldn't have any say-so is fucking ridiculous to me, yo. And then to sit there and make the argument that pro-life is the real murder because of the potential deaths and growing up in a shitty environment and growing up in the foster home. You know how many kids who grew up on the streets? And I didn't grow up in like the ghetto, but like I grew up close enough to that lifestyle and know people who grew up in that lifestyle that if their parents who couldn't quote unquote afford it but still fucking but still had the child and still stuck it out, and those kids are now going to prestigious schools, those kids, according to your fucking logic, would just get cut the fuck off because parents are just like, well, I ain't got the fucking money for it. I ain't got the money for it. Some parents will struggle their motherfucking asses off in those shitty situations. But to sit there and tell me because of that, why would you go, that's the real murder. Yeah, not like actually killing the child. Literally killing the child, right? Stupid! It's fucking stupid. How dare you? How fucking dare you? Yo. And it's not like I don't see the argument. I get it. Ghetto area, there's a high death rate, especially in African Americans, right? I understand the statistics and why you can say something like that. But to sit there and say that that's worse compared to literally killing the child in an abortion is stupid as fuck. But forcing every woman to have the child is a dangerous situation. Because they'll both die one way or the other. The difference is that that is 100% confirmed. If you have an abortion, that kid is dead. I'm pissed. Because it was such a stupid video off of the premise. It's almost like you just fucking Google searched women doing abortions because of rape and incest, and that was it. Now, granted, like I said, he does mention the whole financial thing being an issue too. But like he keeps going back to the men shouldn't have a say-so at all, and men shouldn't have a say-so at all, and rape and incest are one of the main reasons. And that if you have a baby in this area, that life is terrible. Well, the baby will die either way. The difference is there's a higher chance of that baby, you know, growing up, making something out of his or herself, or better, enjoying their fucking life, versus that. People go, oh, why do you get to make the decision that she should be able to make on her own? Like, why are you controlling her decision? It's her body. It's almost like you didn't understand the point of pro-life. The whole point of pro-life isn't to make an argument. Isn't to make an argument for her decision. It's to make the argument for the baby that hasn't been born yet. That's the whole point. And I'm not even a religious guy, so I'm not going to bring up any of the religious shit. That blows my mind. You didn't even get the basis of the argument for pro-life. The basis of the argument for pro-life isn't to make an argument about why she shouldn't get to be able to choose what she does with her body. The basis of pro-life argument is them speaking for the child who is on the fucking chopping block. They're the voice of the unborn child. And it trips me out because these are basic things. All you had to do was Google search fucking statistics for abortions and reasons why abortions were happening and what was the major reasons. Some women, here's the kicker, some women didn't even give a fucking reason. Some women just said fuck it for no real reason. Just said fuck it, I just want to get an abortion. Now, granted, some of those women will probably maybe have been embarrassed. Some women I just don't think gave a fuck. This is the reason why I can't be pro-choice, because there's a bunch of women and men fucking around doing stupid shit and getting pregnant. Some of them can afford the baby. Some of them could give the baby a good life. They don't want to fucking do it. They just don't want to do it. That's the problem with pro-choice, is that a bunch of that shit will keep happening on top of everything else. But at the same time, I don't know how I feel about rape victims and kids and whether or not they should be forced to have a child. That's a lot of shit. That's a lot of stress and trauma. And if the mother's on some shit, that means when the pregnancy happens, she could die in the pregnancy. But once again, there's also a chance a woman can die in an abortion. Now, granted, the risk in that situation is very fucking low, but it can still happen. And then they make the army, they come out with medical diseases and shit, and illnesses. Yeah, but see, as time progresses, medicine improves, which means we can potentially fix some of those issues, right? That's also like, but my issue with that also is like, that's like, well, we got a bunch of people who are currently alive who have mental retardation and various other conditions who can still live happy fucking lives. Like, this is the problem with the video. This is why I wouldn't take a stance on that kind. That's a very sensitive topic. And you took a stance and it almost seemed like you literally read the news article about the Alabama bill and didn't look at anything fucking else. Because how fucking dare you? You didn't even know that rape and incest was like wasn't even one of the major reasons. It's not even top 5 in most studies. In most studies and surveys, it's like one of the lower level things. So fucking stupid. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Not saying that those women don't matter. I'm just saying, don't act like rape. I hate that argument. That rape and incest are the 2 main reasons. Those are the 2 main reasons. Also, if you're committing incest and rape aren't even the same thing. So that means you willingly had sex with a family member. Unless it's rape and incest. But like, that's a whole nother fucking problem. And once again, when is the responsibility going to be on the parents and the kids that are having sex or who aren't teaching their kids how to properly protect themselves, or if they don't want kids using contraceptives, getting tubes tied? I gotta stop. That shit, that's why this video is fucking stupid, because it's misinformed and bait and it's a knee-jerk reaction. And I should know, because I do that shit all the fucking time. I gotta go. I have 2 burgers I haven't touched. I said I'm gonna eat this and calm myself down. Didn't even touch the burgers. I knew I wasn't gonna do it. But fuck it. We're still cool, Retro, but sometimes you just gotta watch what the fuck you say sometimes. This is idiocy. On the highest degree. But good news. On YouTube, everyone gets called out on their bullshit. So, you will become a better person through this experience. But right now, in this moment, this ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. Anywho, I'm going to eat this, and I'm going to stream bed down in a few hours. So, I'll see you later. Boss again for your boy Terrell. Research before you form an opinion. Bye.